Good morning, New York Mets Nation, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry. Hump Day in the house. Here we go, Wednesday, halfway through our work week here, unless you have to work the weekend, which I do not. A little bit of softball this weekend, last tournament for my daughter for the season. And a little bit of a break there from softball and get into basketball nonstop for the kid. She loves it. So, all right. So we'll kick the show off here with the New York Metropolitans. They found their guy, apparently, kind of, sort of, a little bit. So, it's been all this talk. You got, former NBA Commissioner David Stearns. Not really, but really, same name. But anyway, David Stearns. So everybody's saying Craig Counsell's coming over. And I talked about it a few weeks ago. Well, it feels longer than that, but it was probably only a few weeks ago. How about some of the reports I was reading or some of the articles I was reading, I had Counsell maybe hesitating or balking at moving or managing in New York, because he's a Midwestern guy, has a large family, all located in the Midwest, and to expect him kind of stay in that area, that location, Midwest. So I'm surprised that Craig Counsell went to the Cubs. I guess Chicago's not really a small market team. It's a large market, not quite like New York City, but it's a hotbed of sports. The media could be tough there. Not saying Craig Counsell couldn't handle the media, but Milwaukee, not so much. I'm just surprised, maybe he didn't look at Cleveland. That's still a Midwestern market, not a overly, per se tough media outlet. You know what I'm saying with New York, Philadelphia, the northeastern corridor there, Boston. The media can be a little bit tough, and so that's usually one of the things that people look at when they're hiring managers or bringing big time players in. Is how are they going to handle the media? So I'm kind of surprised that he didn't look at maybe Cleveland first and going to interdivision to Chicago. I'm sure that doesn't make the Brewers all that happy. But then again, it's the manager. He's not out there playing the games or nothing like that, but he does control a lot, does make the moves and makes the calls and stuff like that. So that was kind of interesting to me that he went where he went. So the Mets went to their number two. Yeah, so they got their guy, but not really, kind of, whatever. Their number two being Carlos Mendoza, New York Yankees bench coach, a guy with no experience, which is fine. I'm cool with that. That's no problem. No experience in the major league in the major leagues, being a head coach. He was a head coach in the Yankees system down in the Florida Gulf Coast League, in I think high A or low A. I don't know what it was, but. So there's a little experience there, but he's been their bench coach for the last few seasons, and he's got plenty of experience there with that. With Booney getting tossed out of every other game, he's gotten plenty of opportunities to be the manager there with the Yankees. Booney's a hothead, so I get a kick out when Booney gets all fired up. So I love it, to be honest with you. I was always a big fan of when Bobby Cox would get tossed because that's just funny watching him get pissed off and. That's the Fry in me. That if anybody knows me or my family, seeing somebody getting pissed off and getting wound up and getting in an argument, that's the Fry in me. That's what we do. We like watching that stuff, or even kind of helping it along, a little bit of pot stirring. That's what we do. I got a couple comments here. We got our boy Adam Glenn. What's up, Adam? How you doing, buddy? I'm not a big fan of the Fat Fry thing there, but okay. And his tag team partner Eileen saying home day. There we go. She says they kind of screwed David Ross. I'm kind of surprised by that. David Ross I believe, right? He won a World Series with the Cubbies. They're playing decent ball. They just missed the playoffs. Anyway, I think they had I don't know about their expectations coming into the season. They did have a decent roster, nothing terrible. They did make some moves, for Dansby Swanson and stuff like that. They made a couple moves, Marcus Stroman and who else is there? They made moves for. I don't remember everybody, but anyway. So they finished fairly strong, kind of stumbled at the very end there, but then again, you look at the end of their season, they were prime for that playoff spot, and they ended with a bunch of tough teams at the end, and there were some winnable games that they lost on errors. Like there was one, I can't think of the Japanese. I think it's a Japanese player, or Korean player. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But he dropped the pop up, in the outfield. I think it was out number 3 to end the game, maybe, or whatever. Just dropped it, extended the inning. They ended up losing. And I think there was the next game there. Somebody else did almost the same kind of thing. So, but I'm kind of surprised that they got rid of David Ross. I was surprised, and that was their way of we see something better. See you later, David. But he'll pick up somewhere else. Catcher in the major leagues. Usually catchers do well as managers because they manage the game on the field. And so I'm sure David Ross will pick up somewhere else. Maybe not next season, but maybe the season after. Because I know Cleveland, they got their coach as well. Cleveland got they have Vaught, Stephen Vaught. He just retired in 2022 from the Athletics, and I remember him retiring. So I remember his kids announcing his last at bat and stuff like that. And I think he hit a home run, which was pretty cool. And he was with the I think Mariners last season. Maybe I could be wrong. We got Stacy Northrup. Good morning, Stacy. You can check Stacy out Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. in the Big Blue Power Hour. Didn't go so well for the Giants this week, but I mean, like I said, sometimes you get that interim coach bump. The teams that have the interim coach, you get a little bit of a lift, for a week. So, super bummed about Danny Dimes. I'm a Daniel Jones fan. I think he can be better than what he's been showing this season. And then just coming back and tearing that ACL like that, and then just going down. That's tough. And then the kid they brought in, started out as rough as he did. He finished, fairly decent in the second half, but I thought Saquon had a decent game. I was really surprised the Raiders' offense did what they did to the Giants' defense, to be honest with you. So, but you know what? All right, Stacey, move on to the next one. It is what it is. As a Raiders fan, we've been losing for a long time right now. So I'm used to saying, you got to move on to the next one, just kind of slogging through it. But besides, I hope you're having a good morning. Stacy likes a little bit of bony. Eileen, Dansby Swanson. I can't stand that guy. Just the name alone irritates me. But then, I don't know. I don't like him. He was a Brave. Thank you. Congrats to the Raiders. They got the Jets this week, so hopefully that's another win before they get slaughtered by Miami and Kansas City back-to-back. Adam Glenn says the Phillies coach was a Yankees bench coach. I did not know that. I did not know that at all. That's interesting. Then you got to do ew after Dansby Swanson. Ew. Freaking guy, man. Anyway, so Carlos Mendoza, we'll see what happens with that. We'll see how things go. I was surprised they didn't give more thought to Carlos Beltran. They said, I think it was last week or something like that, that a candidate was not going to come from internal, so you knew it wasn't going to be Beltran. So reports that I've read is that David Stearns is going to keep Beltran on as a special assistant, which was his role last year. And I don't remember where the report came from, which I'm terrible at. I should be writing that stuff down to give people credit. But they're not watching this show anyway. They're doing their own little thing, making their own little Mets news up. So what do they care? But they're saying that this could be possibly like an audition for Carlos Beltran as potentially being a GM next season with the Mets. So I said this before. I don't expect him to hire GM with David Stearns being in control, being the president of baseball operations, just making all the calls for everything. Well, why even have a general manager then? Because that's basically what you're doing as well. So after he gets it rolling, gets everything set up the way he wants it, maybe having a GM next season to kind of help with the load a little bit, or you just keep Beltran as a special assistant. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Beltran. So moving on from that, so there was a couple things that had me interested looking at the upcoming season, free agency, and all that stuff. A couple players were not tendered qualifying offers. So when you get tendered a qualifying offer, a team will reach out and they'll tag you with this qualifying offer, which is usually like a 1 year, $20 million or whatever. That's a lot of money. And, it's up to the player if they want to accept it or reject it. And if they reject it and another team signs them, well, then that team has to give a draft pick to the team that had him before, that gave him the qualifying offer. But if he accepts it, then he's still on the team. So you can work out a new deal or whatever. And from what I understand, from what I heard on the MLB network, they were saying it's like out of the last 194 times that this has been done, with the offer extended or whatever, there's only been 6 that have taken it. So qualifying offer, there's only been like 6 that have taken the qualified offer. So it seems like So what it does is that teams will put a qualifying offer on a player that if they do lose, they do get something in return. And sometimes they do that knowing that that player's not coming back, just so they get something for that player that they weren't able to trade either at the trade deadline or they didn't want to trade the trade deadline, kind of like Shohei Ohtani, because Shohei Ohtani was extended the qualifying offer. And, there's a chance that he doesn't take that. So that way the Angels still do get something, probably nothing near – well, no, not probably. Definitely nothing near what they would have got if they would have traded him at the trade deadline. But something is better than nothing, I guess. So, but then again, you never know. Coming off Tommy John surgery, he was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to spend another year with Anaheim as I heal, and I'll play for them and before I go on to the free agent market. You never know. You just don't know. But a couple guys that were not extended qualifying offers that kind of piqued my interest. I'm not going to go through a whole list, but just a couple that kind of, maybe raised my eyebrow a little bit. Like, well, Joey Votto, I know he's like 39, 40 years old. He's up there in age, kind of struggled at the plate this season. But having somebody like that on your bench, and I think part of it is that he's not ready to be a bench player. Actually, I don't think that it was a qualifying offer. I think the team didn't pick up his option. I think that's what it was. But anyway, that's just a name out there. But I figure that because he's not an everyday player, he still could play the field. He still could play first base. I think he's a first baseman. And but coming off the bench, it's still a strong bat to have coming off the bench. Craig Kimbrell, again, kind of really sketchy out of the bullpen, but I wouldn't use him as a closer or a setup man, but maybe somebody just in relief, maybe a seventh inning guy or something like that. And because he still pitches well. He didn't pitch well in parts of the postseason, but he still pitches well, and still gets outs and stuff like that. With the Mets rebuilding their bullpen, maybe that could be a name that they look at to kind of toss in there, even though I'm not a big fan of him, him being a former Brave in Philly and the goofy ass, arm gimmick thing that he got going on there when he's, getting ready to pitch. And then the one that really piqued my interest was Rhys Hoskins. So the Phillies, they gave a qualifying offer to Aaron Nola. And so they did not extend a qualifying offer to Rhys Hoskins. And I think there was a couple more. And the thing with Hoskins coming off ACL surgery, still a really big bat. I think his last full season with the Phillies, he had 30-plus home runs, first baseman. So that's somebody that I thought, coming off ACL surgery, he'd come with a hefty price, but, maybe the Mets can, pick him up, use him as DH, and eventually work him in with Pete Alonso at first base, give Pete a couple days off at first base, get Rhys in there, give him, back and forth at DH. I think that'd be fantastic. Again, that's kind of like a pipe dream, but so I like Rhys Hoskins, and I think it's funny that Philly fans don't want to lose Rhys Hoskins and stuff like that, and they boot the shit out of him for seasons and seasons. So, yeah. So those are just a couple names that I thought of this week. As we go on through the offseason, I'll bring up a couple other like free agent names and whatever and talk about them. Just kind of like what I did there. Guys that piqued my interest, or you hear rumors that possibly going to the Mets. A couple guys that were offered qualifying offers from their teams that have been linked to the Mets. Well, of course, Shohei Ohtani. Everybody, the Mets are potentially in on that. And then the lad I talked about last week, I can't think of his name now, Matt Chapman from the Blue Jays. He was also extended a qualifying offer. So I thought I seen it something like it would cost a team a 4th-round pick if they signed one of those guys. But I don't know if that's same for every single person, or if that goes by production levels, or what that goes by. I'm not really sure, 100% sure with that. A couple Mets news notes here. Omar Narvaez, he exercised his player option for 2024. So I believe that means he'll be back, if I understand the player option thing right. Mets claim Zach Short, shortstop from Detroit. That's just kind of, minor league stuff, I think. That's what it seems like to me. Senga was named a finalist for Rookie of the Year. Alonso and Francisco Lindor, Silver Slugger finalists. And Brandon Nimmo was named a finalist for the Hustle and Heart Award. That sounded like that was just made for Nimmo, Hustle and Heart. The Mets exercised their club option on Brooks Raleigh, so he should be back. And Adam Ottavino declined his player option, so he will not be back. Adam Ottavino, which it's not too surprising. He had a rough season in New York. His ERA in the low 3s after coming off a great season. Up there in age, I think he's like 37, 38, somewhere around there, high 30s in age. So it's not too much of a surprise that Ottavino won't be back. Kind of bummed because I really had high hopes for Ottavino. I really wanted Lugo and Ottavino in the worst way, back last season. I think if you had Lugo with Ottavino in the bullpen, I think it would have been a much different season. It's if and buts were candy and nuts. I don't know the rest of it, but you know what I'm saying. Chocolate milk. This is easily the best chocolate milk there is. I mean, I know you, some of you people watching are not from this area, and Stacy, Eileen. But if you ever, for some reason, if you find yourself in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, for whatever reason, find yourself some Gears chocolate milk, you will not be disappointed. It's just so good. I don't understand what it is. I did talk to a guy that works there, and he told me, I think it was about the pasteurization process and sugar or something like that. I don't know, but it's awesome. So, all right. What else we got for the Mets here? Not a whole lot besides that. Texas Rangers win the World Series. Obviously, it feels like it was a month ago already, but it was just a week ago. 5 games against the Diamondbacks. Game 5 there. It basically came down to the Rangers beating the Diamondbacks. Beating the Diamondbacks' strength. One of their strengths was their bullpen and starting pitching. And late into that game, it was a 1-0 game. And the Rangers were able to bust it open, I think, in the 8th or 9th inning. I think it was the 9th inning. I could be wrong though. And they were able to shut out the Diamondbacks. So I mean, congratulations to the Diamondbacks. Nobody, I guarantee you, nobody thought that they were going to make it to the World Series, let alone the playoffs. The playoffs maybe because they did have a really strong finish last season. When I was doing my preseason breakdowns, one of the things I did talk about. Where it was the Diamondbacks, I thought they would have a quick start and a slow finish. I didn't think they'd make the playoffs, but I said that I thought they were too young to put together a whole season yet. It was finishing strong, starting strong, kind of riding that high, off of last season, but eventually there's going to be your low, which they did have that low, but they were able to battle out of that, which really impressive. And they made a nice run there through the playoffs to the World Series, much like the Phillies did last season when the Phillies were dropped by the Astros in, I think, 6. So kudos to them, and congratulations to the Rangers. First World Series championship in their history. So Scherzer, he got his another World Series for himself, former Met. Jacob deGrom, I don't understand how it works, but, apparently Jacob deGrom, he gets a World Series ring as well. Didn't pitch all that often or that much, early in the season until he got hurt. Maybe like 5 or 6 starts. He was pitching well, but it wasn't a whole lot of starts. So I don't know if it's just if you play a game, you get a World Series ring. I don't know how it works. I have no idea. But I guess he's now recognized as a world champion, even though he contributed pretty much nothing. I bet it is what it is. Nothing against him. It's, you tear your UCL, you tear your UCL. What are you going to do? Adolis Garcia. Now, there were some rumors. I don't, like conspiracy. I should say rumors. There are some conspiracies about his injury being linked to steroids. Now, I don't know if this is true or what, because I haven't seen anything else on it. But they're showing him a couple seasons before, and I don't remember who he was playing for. I was Cleveland Guardians, Indians, or Minnesota, or somebody else. He was playing for somebody else, and he definitely looks a lot different than he does now. He definitely looks a little bit bulky now. A little bit, bigger head, bigger biceps, kind of like the Sammy Sosa effect. If you ever seen Sammy Sosa early in his career, a little fella, and then all of a sudden, he just, a little bit of monster juice, and he was gigantic. So I guess the conspiracy was that he took the steroid test, came back hot, and he had to sit out, and it's going to come out later. I don't know. Again, it's just a conspiracy I heard, which kind of perks your ears up a little bit after you see some of the evidence. Like, Adam says that I heard the ratings were bad for the World Series. Yeah, I think it was the worst in World Series history. From what I seen, and that wasn't the final ratings that I seen. It was like Game 4, like up through like Game 3 or 4. They were on the pace to being the worst in World Series history. I think the worst before that might have been the Dodgers Rays or something like that. I think it was Dodgers Rays with like an 8 million total viewership. And the Diamondbacks Rangers were like barely at 6. So I like what are you gonna do? I mean, that's gonna happen from from time to time. You can't just fix it to where only big market teams get into it. That's not right. People do like a Cinderella story, or something like that, going up to the championship. But when it comes to a long series like that, where it's going to be a 7-game series, granted it doesn't always go 7 games like it did in this season. People lose interest, or people that were really interested because their team or a team that they're rooting for, gets knocked out. Well, they lose interest right away. I mean, that's nothing you can do. But that's not a small market problem. That's a baseball problem. Like how do you keep people more interested? Where when you do have the Rangers and Diamondbacks, or like, the Royals and Guardians, and I'm trying to think of Tampa Bay Rays, Miami Marlins, and stuff like that. The smaller teams, how do you keep people interested? How do you keep people watching? There's not a whole lot you can do, besides hoping that they're thrilling games. And for the most part, some of those games are really, really good. Now, I didn't get to watch all of them. I watched, a few innings here, a few innings there, listen to some of it, with them being on so late at night, which, is that a part of the problem? It's on at 8:30. I'm going to work and it's only the 3rd inning. What are you going to do? So I don't know if that's part of it or not. But you just bite the bullet. It is what it is. Yeah, you had 6 million viewers. All right. That's 6 more million viewers than you would have had if there was no World Series. So, not every year is going to be 18 million or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what a good number is right now. Stacy said, I heard the same thing, but they also said the ratings may have seemed bad, but they can't account for people using streaming apps to watch. Yeah, but I can't imagine that making up that huge of a difference. It would add some, like people watching like YouTube TV, or I know HBO Max was carrying the playoffs, but they didn't carry the World Series, I don't think. Watching on like the MLB app or whatever. I don't know. But I don't think it would have added that much to it. And that's part of the point there too. It's things have changed so much, from 5-10 years ago that ratings wise you can't really go 100% by that. I still think they the ratings that they put out there for the TV viewership is more probable, more accurate than what. If you like if it's 6 million, you add another 2 million or whatever through streaming services or something, it's still pretty close. 6 million, but I guess there never will be a way that you can tell. Really, I guess that's like a privacy thing. I don't know. I don't know how that works. You're going by apps and streaming and stuff. But I mean, like, there was some decent stories that came out of there. Corey Seager had a great series, like I said, about Adolis Garcia. Then him getting hurt, and Scherzer and him getting hurt. The young guys from the Diamondbacks, Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte. He had a fantastic series. So we'll see what happens next year. Next year when you have the Mets and Yankees, people will bitch that it's an all New York. It's an all New York World Series. It's like, oh, it's only the East Coast. What are you gonna do? It is what it is. They're like football. You could have any team in there pretty much, and it's still gonna do great numbers for the Super Bowl. That's one game. I think that's part of it. I really think it's part of it that it's a full series. I wonder how like basketball in the NHL, I wonder how they do compared to baseball. I'm sure basketball is probably the highest out of those three sports when it comes to series, like a championship series or playoff series for viewership. I think basketball is probably the highest out of those three, then probably baseball, then hockey. But I wonder how it compares when they have small market teams in a series like that. How different the viewership is from they have large market teams. I'm sure there's a contrast, but like I said, the Super Bowl, you could have anybody in there because it's a one game, 1 day deal. It's a big event. It's a huge, huge thing. You got a whole week of events leading up to it, and it's one and done. So I think that's a big part of it. And people love football, so I mean, they got that going, I guess. You can't really battle football. And it's the same, even soccer. It's the same way with soccer. That's usually a one game thing for a championship, like a World Cup or Olympics or something like that. It's a 1 game thing. It's a big event, across the globe. Anyway, here in the United States, a little bit different, but across the globe, speaking like that, they get the huge viewership, because it's a 1 day thing. So I wonder that I'm sure that's a huge part of it. I really do. So next episode, next week I won't be on. I'm going to take a week off from the Batcave. But the next episode, I'm going to go through the winners for the Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, and I'm not sure when they released like the MVP. Like they did just recently release the MVP finalists and stuff. I should be talking about that as well, but I didn't write it down, but I'll talk about the winners and stuff like that and Cy Youngs and stuff. Next episode in 2 weeks. Go through all the awards. I'm not sure when the awards go off, but if they go off before I come on again, then I'll talk about that stuff. How about that? But a couple Mets, up for a couple of awards. I don't know how Alonso's going to do for the Silver Slugger at first base. A lot of tough competition there between like Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman and stuff like that. I think Freddie Freeman is up for the MVP. Manny or not? No, is it Manny? No, his teammate, not Manny Machado. He's in San Diego. I can't think of his name right now. Mookie Betts. And I think Acuna, Ronald Acuna Jr., Freddie Freeman, I think Mookie Betts are up for MVP. And if I had to bet money, somebody said, Fry, you gotta bet money. And I'm like, well, how much money? They'll be like, oh, $10. Like, all right, I'll put $10 on it. I would bet Acuna. Ronald Acuna Jr. just had an outstanding season, breaking all kinds of records and stuff like that, stolen bases and home runs and stuff like that. The Braves, best team in baseball. And so my MVP pick would be Ronald Acuna Jr. So speaking of best team in baseball, I'm going to do my top 10 here real quick. The final top 10 of the season here on the Batcave for for the teams. So obviously, you can kind of figure out who the 1 and 2 are going to be for obvious reasons. But after the top 4, I kind of broke it down to who I thought was the best. Not where they finished in the playoffs. So number 10, I had the Brewers. 9, I had the Blue Jays, who were a huge disappointment again. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if they start breaking pieces off of the Blue Jays. You're starting to see talks about Matt Chapman, who is up there in age anyway, but potentially moving on. Tampa Bay Rays at number 8. Again, started off like a ball of fire, kind of stumbled their way through the end of the season and outed in the playoffs early. The Twins, who they kind of started off slow, middle of the road, finished the season fairly hot, won themselves a playoff series. They went out in the second round, I believe. Orioles at number 6, fantastic season. Nobody expected the Orioles to win as many games. They did have the second best record in the league, I believe. I think they finished like 101, 102 wins or something like that. So they were ahead of schedule anyway. So they're out early as well. They had to bye. They lost their first opportunity to play. Who the hell did they lose to? They lose to I don't think it was Texas. I think it was Texas. I think Texas swept them. Number 5, I have the Braves. Regular season, best team in baseball. Playoffs, not so much. That's the Braves' MO. A lot of times, win that division, get in the playoffs, and shit the bed. Either in the World Series or the NLCS or anywhere in the playoffs. It doesn't really matter. Number 4, out of the top 4 teams in the playoffs, Houston. I had them number 4. They'll be back again next year. Playoffs, deep in the playoffs probably. Number 3, Philly. I have them probably making it back. Next season. We'll see what they do with their bullpen and starting pitching to kind of solidify that, and go from there. I tell you, if what is it, Rojas at the bottom of their order, if they would have pinch hit for him and the bases were loaded, I think it might have been a different outcome. Yeah, I mean, you don't know if whoever they brought in would have gotten a hit, but still, bases loaded, man. I know it's early in the game. You got to try it. You got to pinch hit for him because the dude was hitting well under 100. So I had Philly at number 3, and of course number 2, Diamondbacks, runners up, and number 1, the Texas Rangers, World Series champions, number 1 team on the Batcave rankings. Congratulations to them. The trophy and check will be in the mail. All right, so before I get to my final topic here, quick show. Like not a whole lot going on here right now. I think it'll start picking up here pretty soon, and with news and notes and stuff like that, kind of just, the Mets got their manager, the season's over, so you start expecting free agency stuff to start happening and, picking up. Last week I talked about some players that the Mets released. There's a couple guys that were optioned down to AAA, trying to think of who they were. Tim Locastro, Tim Locastro declined his option, so he's a free agent. And another guy, it was Shit, I can't think of his name. Tim Locastro. There's somebody else that had decent playing time with the Mets. Decent time with the Mets, playing time with the Mets this year that was optioned to AAA but declined the option, so he's a free agent. I remember, but there was a list of like 4 or 5 guys. So, Adam says, "Wow, ratting crow." I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means at all. All right, so before I move on to the last topic here, I'm going to go ahead and do sponsor reads. We got our boy here, Big Al, J Fine Law. You can reach Jason Fine, Big Al, at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. They have 3 office locations throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and in the Garden State of New Jersey. They are located at Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 3 Greensward Lane. The number there is 856-209-5258. Then in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the offices are located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there, 412-365-8151. And in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the land of cheesesteaks and sports. The offices are located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's attorney Big Al. Tell him the Batcave sent you. And then, of course, Monkey Colt Coffee. Check Monkey Colt Coffee out at monkeycoltcoffee.com and, of course, at all social media platforms. Some great coffee, some great products there. The OG coffee there, the bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, fantastic. Toasted coconut rum, muy bueno. And there's my foreign language speak right there. Sumatran blend, one of their latest blends, medium roast coffee. Very good. Great flavor. And then their newest blend, organic blend, Perula, Florida. I have not tried it yet. Soon I will be trying it. Put my order in once I'm all out of coffee. That's part of their global gourmet collections. They are working on a couple more flavors, probably being put out later this month. So we'll see what happens there. So once you fill your little shopping cart up, your virtual shopping cart with coffee, head over to their swag shop and get yourself a t-shirt, coffee mug, tumbler, cold brew pitcher set, all emblazoned with their mascot, Roderick the monkey, the coffee drinking monkey. They also have K-cup adapters for you K-cuppers, and don't forget your Paradise rum cake. That's good stuff there. Nice little dessert. You can dip that into your coffee. It's moist to begin with, so you dip it in your coffee, it's going to be really wet, if you catch my drift. So head over to monkeycoltcoffee.com, get all that stuff, and make sure at checkout you use that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off. That promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off at monkeycoltcoffee.com. And I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. Kenny's back. Tell a friend. Adam Glenn, about the Phillies, third in your rankings. They had a hell of a season again, Adam. Like I said, I can't put them above the Diamondbacks or the Rangers. Diamondbacks beat them in the playoffs. The Rangers are the World Series champions. So, I'll give props where props need to be given. They had a great season. I think they had a better season than Houston, so that's why I put them above Houston. And it's, like I said, as long as they can figure out a couple things, there's no reason to think that they won't be back in the same spot next year. It's as long as the Mets can get stop stepping on their dicks, they should be right up there with the Phillies and Braves in a really nice NL East battle. And the Marlins, we'll see if they continue their surprising success that they had this season. which I don't think they will, and go from there. So hopefully next year's a much more competitive NL East. Hopefully the Braves don't run away with it. Hopefully it's the Mets, Braves, Phillies all battling it out, and the ratings will be good. Adam wants to know, who does he call if he gets hurt in Pottsville? It's not a bad question, Adam. What is it? Was it Krasno, Onwadijo? That's the attorney, the big billboard I see every day at work. Krasno, Onwadijo. I hear the commercials. Krasno out the window. No, that's not. Anyway, I'm blabbering now. All right, so final topic of the day is another top 10 list. So just recently, the Beatles released their last song, and yeah, I heard it a couple times. I think it sounds great. I think it sounds like a Beatles song. I guess one of the things was, people were saying that, it's an AI, it's AI Beatles, artificial intelligence Beatles. It's not, it was actual recordings that the Beatles have, had for years, and it just needed to be cleaned up. So I guess John Lennon's vocals and some of George Harrison's parts were a little bit distorted. So they used today's technology to clean it up a little bit. So I thought it was fantastic. I think, what is it called? Is it Now and Then? I think it's called, or something like that. But I liked it. I think it sounds really good. The video is really neat. If you're a Beatles fan, check that out. The music video is, kind of goes through their whole history of all of them. You've seen pictures when they were young, when they were older. Of course, Paul and Ringo still being with us. You see them, pictures of them, video of them now, present, and then you seeing the John Lennon, from his later days, before he passed away, before he was murdered, and going back through his earlier years of Sgt. Pepper's times, the earlier times, then back to the Quarrymen when it was just him and Paul in a different band, the Quarrymen and stuff like that, and even back to when they were little kids, some pictures there. So it was really neat, kind of nostalgic. So I thought it was pretty cool. Danny says, I figured it was AI generated, and he says Here and Now. Yeah, that's what it is. Here and Now. I had it in my head that I'm like, oh, is it something? It's something now. So I'm like, is it Now and Then, or like, I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, it's not. It was. I guess I was listening to the Beatles. I'm a Beatles fan. My mom is a Beatles fan. And I grew up listening to the Beatles, amongst other things, Queen, Black Sabbath, stuff like that, Meatloaf. And but the Beatles really stuck with me. In my, over the last, probably 5 or 6 years, I really got back into them, becoming a big Beatles fan. And so I heard on the Beatles channel on Sirius XM the original vocals for John Lennon. You could hear like the distortion; it wasn't really clear. And then they played. I heard the isolated vocals of John Lennon on the new song, and it's much clearer, but you do hear like a hint of it being enhanced or auto-tuned a little bit to make it clearer. So you do get like if it's just isolated, you can hear like a mechanical touch to it. So okay, so it is Now and Then. All right. Here and Now and Then, it's all the same damn thing. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, so I figured, I thought it'd be a great idea, to do my top 10 favorite Beatles songs. I think I've done this before, but it's always changing. It just depends on what mood I'm in. And there's so many great songs. There's so many songs. When I was doing this list, I had so many scribbles on. It's like, Jesus Christ, not this one. I'm like, oh, I like this one more than this one, so I got to move that one up. So it was really tough. But anyway, so here's my top 10 list, favorite Beatles songs. And, like them, lump them, it doesn't matter to me. Number 10, Day in the Life, which is a fantastic song. Number 9, She's Leaving Home, which is a tearjerker for me. With my kids getting older and just, hearing that song and, the daughter, basically just leaving it in the middle of the night, early morning, leaving a note. The mom finds it. She's gone already, and the parents like, what do we do? That's why we didn't deserve this. We gave her everything. Just it's a tearjerker. It's a tearjerker. Number 8, Get Back. Great song. It's been redone so many different times. Number 7, In My Life. Number 7. So in my life, it's a little bit different for me. When my mom passed away a couple of years ago, when I was talking at her funeral, that's one of the songs that I talked about, because it kind of like talks about like the old times, like places, people and places that you remember and stuff like that. Things change, and stuff that you won't forget and that you'll miss and you'll love and stuff. So so that one's a little bit special to me. Number 6, I have Penny Lane. It's another song. It's just fantastic. You love Penny Lane. Hearing the whole story, Penny Lane, and the the whole fire truck and everything, and everybody knows these songs. So I'm not going to sit here and sing them. I need to hear the song to sing them anyway. I'm not, some of that stuff you just need to hear the melody and kind of go with it. Penny Lane and barn photograph, all that stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to embarrass myself. Number 5, Maxwell Silverhammer. That was my favorite Beatles song as a kid, and I still enjoy it. I think it's like I didn't realize when I was a kid that it's a song about a nut job murdering people. Bang bang, Maxwell Silverhammer came down on her head. So I kind of realized that now. I was like, oh man, that'd make a good death metal song. Number 4, Oh Darling. Terrific song. I really like the feeling behind it. Just the way they sing it. These next couple songs almost kind of the same way, the way they sing it. It's like they're not screaming it, but they're really high, like really like a grit in their voice when they're singing it. So Oh Darling, I like that song. Number 3, I've Got a Feeling. I really like that song. I've got a feeling deep inside. Oh no, I don't know. Number 2, my second favorite Beatles song right now, Happiness Is a Warm Gun. Another fantastic song. And, bang, bang, shoot, shoot. Anyway, number 1, my favorite song, Don't Let Me Down. A great song. I think that song sung mostly by John, but I could be wrong. Or is that Paul? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't know that stuff. But I just know that's my favorite Beatles song. And, Don't Let Me Down. Da-da-da-da. Don't let me down. I don't know. Anyway, we got a comment from Rich Youst. Richie says, good morning, Ken. We all know you are a Spice Girl. I'll tell you what, Rich, no joke. And I don't know, you probably don't know this, but when I was a teenager, I had a wall with all these heavy metal, new metal, rock, posters because I used to get the metal magazines and stuff. So I'd have Ozzy, Korn, Marilyn Manson, Pantera, Machine Head, all these posters. Then on my door, I had a huge Spice Girls poster and some more like single Spice Girls posters for different reasons, not because of their music though. It is what it is. When you're a teenage boy, it is what it is. I ain't gonna, hey Rich. Anybody that doesn't know, Rich is a cousin of mine. We used to hang out a lot when we were youngsters, teenager years, early 90s, mid 90s and stuff. But I remember when Britney Spears first came out with the Oops, I Did It Again. I remember you swooning too there, fella. Who didn't? At that, I don't know what year it was. If it was like 95, 96, I don't know what it was, 97. Man, Britney Spears had it happen there. Eileen with the musical notes. I try, Eileen. I think I have Alexa in here somewhere. I should have played Alexa for some of these songs. I don't know if I'd get in trouble though, so I didn't. You remember? Yes, remember the Spice Girl posters. I was a fan of Ginger Spice. I ain't gonna lie, I was a fan of all the Spice Girls. It didn't, each one had their moment for me. Each one had their own little thing that made teenage Kenny smile a little bit. All right, so yeah, that's all I got. Let me go ahead and go through the show schedule here real quick. Let you guys know what's coming up next here for the rest of today. Usually Wednesdays are pretty big. There we go, new schedule. Bring that up for you all. All right. Where am I here? Wednesday. So 6 p.m. today, we have Fuji's Philly Flair. Fuji's back with his show, Philly Flair. And, that's, he'll talk, Philadelphia sports, entertainment, local stuff. A pretty interesting show. He's had some really great guests on his first couple episodes he did a few months ago before he took some time off. Tonight at 10:30, you'll have the Sixers versus Raptors post-game show. Thursday, 6 p.m., you'll have the NFL Weekly Pick'em show. At 7 p.m., the NFC East War Room, which usually gets pretty interesting. 8 p.m. Thursday, you'll have College Football Frenzy, which is usually Wednesday. They moved that to Thursday this week. Friday, you'll see me again, 10 a.m., the Silver and Black Lair talking Las Vegas Raiders and Los Angeles Kings from pigskin to puck, baby, with the bat fry. 10:30 p.m., you'll have Sixers versus Pistons postgame. Then after that, you'll have the Atomic Drop. So whenever Paul's done with the postgame there, Dave and I will hop on for the Atomic Drop. Saturday, 11 a.m., the Golden Dome podcast. And then at 4:30 p.m., Golden Dome postgame versus Wake Forest. So all you Notre Dame fans, check that out. Sunday, 11 a.m., don't forget to check out the Big Blue Power Hour. Talking New York Giants football, 1 p.m., Cowboys versus Panthers pregame, 4:30 p.m. Cowboys versus Panthers postgame, 7:45 Sixers versus Pacers postgame at 7:45. I don't see the. Did I miss it? Oh, okay. Dem 215 boys was on last night. I see. I didn't notice that. Or I would have checked that out. So Cowboy fans, go ahead and check out the replay of the Dem 215 boys that aired last night. So go to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and check that out. We are on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Twitch. We're also on the Instagram and TikTok. So check us out there as well. All right, one more comment before I hit out of here and go to bed. Rich says, how about them Raiders? They looked so relaxed and like they're having fun for the first time in a couple of years. So they look good. They look relaxed. Granted, it was against a Giants team that's been struggling, but defensively the Giants have been playing better. So I was kind of surprised by the offense, especially first time offensive play caller. I was kind of curious to see how he would call it, and he called it the way I would have called it. Get the ball to Jacobs as much as you can. Let him kind of grind down the defense, hit some short passes, quick passes. With the rookie quarterback, get him in a little bit of a groove, and they did all that, and the defense, stepped up and played really well. So I'll talk more about that on Friday, but yeah, I was impressed with it. But that's one of those things. It's like, all right, that was the first game of a new leadership there in the locker room and on the sidelines. We'll see what happens, going further. Like I said, they got the New York Jets coming up. The Raiders do. Jets offensively are absolutely horrible. Defensively, good, really good. So we'll see what happens this week. Can they still produce the same kind of offense, and can the defense continue to step up? Because then after that, it's going to get a lot tougher. Miami, Kansas City, and I think Minnesota the next 3 games after that. So it's not going to get any easier. Much, much harder. All right. So check me out this Friday, 10 a.m. With the Silver and Black Lair. Then after the Sixers around 11 p.m. Friday, check me out, Atomic Drop Podcast, talking WWE wrestling. Rich and I, we've been to a couple wrestling shows. We met the Honky Tonk Man. Remember that? We asked where Rockabilly was. He said, probably at home rocking his wife. I'm sure you remember that, Rich. That was that was the time we met Honky Tonk Man. Yeah, good times, good times. We used to do a lot of backyard wrestling too. Really, he remembers. Good, yeah, it was a good time. We had a lot of fun. And also, the Batcave will not be on next Wednesday unless there's big news, something big comes out, like signing a big free agent or whatever. I'll probably hop on for a little bit, but unless that happens, I will be back the following week. I'll be going bi-weekly after that, and then we'll go from there. So, thanks for checking the show out. I'll see you guys Friday, and if not Friday, then I'll see you in 2 Wednesdays. Peace, love, and harmony, y'all. I was trying to waste time until I found the ending video, so I found it now, so I'm good to go. See you guys later. Thank you very much for checking the show out and for commenting. Check me out again, like I said, 2 weeks. Same bad time, same bad channel. See yous.